Hello everyone, I've got another request. It's the smartest giant in town, and apologies in advance because this one's going to have a bit of singing in it, sorry. But I don't want to sing it by myself, so if you know this song when I'm singing it, I'm expecting you to join in. Of course, it's another Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheifler collaboration. They've made the story together. And it's about the smartest giant in town. He doesn't look very smart in the beginning of the story, does he, though? Look at his patches on his gown. And in this story, you'll see lots of really good little characters from the stories. I think there's a Puss in Boots there. You'll see them as we go along. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in town. He always wore the same old pair of brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in town, he said sadly. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes, so he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart stripy tie, some smart socks with diamonds up the side, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. Now I'm the smartest giant in town, he said proudly. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. What's the matter? Said George. It's my neck, said the giraffe. It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a nice warm long scarf. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his stripy tie. It didn't match my socks anyway, he said, and he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. Thank you, said the giraffe. As George strode towards home, can you see the little pig with the wheelbarrow with the bricks in? What story is that from? He sang to himself, my tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe, but look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a river. On a boat stood a goat who was bleating. Beep, beep, beep. What's the matter? Said George. It's my sail, said the goat. It blew away in a storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat. Cheer up, said George, and he took off his new white shirt. It kept coming untucked anyway, he said, as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made a magnificent sail. Oh, thank you, said the goat. George strode on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. But look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a little white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. What's the matter? Asked George. It's our house, squeaked the mother mouse. It burned down. And now we've got nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice new house. You can tell what he's going to do, can't you? Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. It was giving me blisters anyway, he said, as the mouse and her baby scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home for them. Thank you, they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, but he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. But look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox. He was crying. What's the matter? Asked George. It's my sleeping bag, said the fox. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag. Cheer up, said George, and he took off one of his socks with the diamonds up the side. It's tickling my toes anyway, he said. As the fox snuggled into it, it made a very fine sleeping bag. Thank you, said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself. Look who's here. Oh, we know the story about them. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. But look me up and down. I'm the smartest giant in town. George came to a big squelchy bog. Beside the bog stood a dog. Oh, he was howling. What's the matter? Asked George. It's the bog. said the dog. I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path. Cheer up, said George. He always says that, doesn't he? And he took off his smart new belt. It was squashing my tummy anyway, he said, and he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. Thank you, said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. My tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. My shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. But, oh, my trousers are falling down. I'm the coldest giant in town. Oh, no. Suddenly, George felt sad and shivery and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'm going to have to hop all the way back to the shop and buy more clothes. He turned around and hopped all the way back. Who can you see here? And there, look. Lots of story characters going on in this book. But when George got there, it was closed. Oh, no. George sank down onto the doorstep and a tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals he'd met on his way home. Then out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out of the top. It does mean that he's seen it before, that. George took a close look. Oh, my gown, he yelled, my dear old gown and sandals. And he put them on. He felt wonderfully comfortable. I'm the cosiest giant in town, he cried, and he danced back home along the road. Outside his front door stood all the animals he'd helped. They were carrying an enormous present. Come on, George, they said, open it. George untied the ribbon and inside was a beautiful gold paper crown and a card. Look inside the card, read it, said the animals. George put on the crown and he opened the card. Inside it said, your tie is a scarf for a cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for a fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town. He was kind, wasn't he? Gave away all these new things to people who needed them more. I bet you guys can be kind. See if you can think of something kind to do today.